Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to decode HCI, right? So what is HCI and how it is working, how it is helping companies and businesses to scale up and scale down their infrastructure, right? Basically, a private data center, right? So now many organizations are relying on private data centers as well as many different requirements, right? So as per business needs, business requirements, they are spending a lot of licenses into the virtualized platform, something like Nutanix or VMware, or it could be hypervisors platforms. So those are the hypervisor platforms, but definitely it could be from any of those service providers, right? So I'm not going to get into that area or that scope, but I wanted to make you understand what is HCI, right? And how it is helping businesses to stay into the private data centers, as well as how they can utilize the underlying infrastructure effectively with the right set of licensing capabilities, right? So the way we say and understand about hybrid benefits in Microsoft Azure context, similarly, each cloud provider has their own capacities or capabilities that we can bring on, and those can be utilized with our on-premises or private data centers as well as with the cloud providers, be it public cloud or any cloud provider, basically, right? So that's what I'm going to talk and majorly into the on-premises or private data center scope. So let's start with, and before starting, let me share my screen quickly here and make you understand this one, right? So let me go on presentation mode here and share it. All right, so this is the topic all about, which is hyper-converged infrastructure, right? How it works, what are the scenarios and real-world use cases, right? So that's very important to know and understand what this is really, right? So let's jump on. So first, let's understand what is hyper-converged infrastructure or HCI, right? So it is simple and straightforward, which is HCI is a software-defined IT infrastructure. So how you are going to manage it, what are the capabilities and feature sets that is going to allow us to combine together, including computing, storage, networking into a one system, right? Now, many of people are already aware that the virtualization platform started from the on-premises or private data centers a long back ago. So that's a complete history. But still, how this software-defined IT infrastructure management was introduced, and then hypervisor platforms was the one which was the first starter to start with software-defined IT infrastructure, right? Then it runs on x68 hardware commodity, right? So what is it means? I'm going to talk a bit of that as well. And the main part of this is software-defined IT infrastructure is managed centrally through the software, right? So you might have seen VMware is used with the different licenses to manage, to host, and everything is going to be managed across the private data center, right? So basis on that, we are hosting and deploying right set of solutions, including storages, networking, and computing, all of that, and to spin up our business workloads, right? So that's how it is going to be spin up and used. So this is all about the converged or hyper converged infrastructure, right? So simply put, or to understand, it is a software defined IT infrastructure management capacity or capability with bring your own licenses, even for private data centers as well as for the public cloud as well. So this is the what is commodity x86 hardware, right? So what is it basically? So x86 is a standard server architecture, the way we have for our devices, something like laptop, desktop, right? It is the same as which is built on Intel or AMD processors, right? And you can see it is same for or same family used for desktops and laptops. And why it is same or how it is simplified, because each organization is running different workloads, right? They wanted to make sure those workloads are available, working appropriately, and not breaking any business or systems, right? And that is why it should be pretty easy available for organizations and businesses to use and make sure those are available. And the commodity is something, it's not a proprietary or custom built, widely available of the self servers, right? You can buy from any vendors, right? So there are many vendors across the industry, those are manufacturing and making those available for customers and businesses, basically something like Dell, Lenovo, HP, right? So they do have, or they are provider of these kind of hardwares for the businesses. And those are the servers where we can put in different workloads when we have set up our private data centers, right? And here you can understand, basically, instead of needing specialized or expensive storage areas or networking hardwares, HCI runs on general purpose servers because that's more affordable and easy to scale up as well, right? Because definitely many requirements or companies would rely on specialized or expensive hardwares and storage devices, but definitely it depends on use cases and basic needs of the business, right? So basis on that, we can go ahead and scale up or scale down, or we can use general purpose products or servers as well. So this is a bit of commodity x86 hardware and how it is built, how it is going to be easy, and how organizations are using it. Now, how is HCI works, right? So it is basically compute virtualization, which runs on hypervisor, right? That you understand. Similarly, storage virtualization, which is a shared pool of storage with replication, which is going to replicate across the hardware and data center. Similarly, on the network side as well, where we are going to define the networking components and networking capacity and centralized policy and orchestration management. So everything at the central location to manage compute, storage, networking, and scale out, which is going to expand the capacity where we wanted to add additional nodes, additional capacities across compute, storage, and networking as well. So that way, it is going to be allowing and make sure we are expanding for the business and systems and application needs, right? So that's how it is going to be helpful for the businesses as well as for the management as well. So this is how HCI works straightforward. There are some of the scenarios how HCI has usage and used, right? Including VDI, edge computing, private and hybrid clouds, business critical applications, backup disaster recovery, test and dev environments, and remote and branch offices, right? So these are the scenarios I mentioned. In these different scenarios, VDI as well as HCI, basically software defined uh, virtual environment, right? So our software defined IT infrastructure deployments and management at centrally we can manage, and we have these other scenarios where we can put together, and those can be used for the businesses basically. Some examples: VDI, which is going to be secure for remote desktops for users. People are working from remote or any location. We can simply provision VDIs and give them access to those, and they can employ or deploy across and use it from anywhere, basically. So that's going to run behind the corporate network, and we have a complete control on it, and user cannot do any unwanted activities, right? So that's going to be fully over the internet with a secure connection. Similarly, on the edge, where we will deploy IT resources at the different locations, something like retail stores, hospitals, and factories. So that's also possible with this capacity, and it's going to be a centrally management from security, compliance, and everything together, right? So we don't have really to visit each location and then deploy it separately and something like that, right? So can be easily accessed and provided and given for the people to access and use it. There are some other scenarios or examples, you can say, private or hybrid cloud, where we can use cloud-like agility on premises. So same as cloud, we will get the complete control and management. But in cloud, we have some of the capacities we really don't get complete control, right? Where we have to work on only on shared responsibility, right? So out of 100%, we have shared responsibility between different workloads, be it the storage, computing, networking, and all other capacities that are available in the cloud. But in the private data center or private area, we get a complete control and we can manage. So definitely there would be agility as well as the differences, but definitely it has a capacity to provide many things. Applications like ERP, SAP, Oracle, high demand performance storage requirements, definitely those would also be in picture when it comes to deploying it in either private cloud or in the public cloud, right? Similarly, on the backup and disaster recovery, where we would replicate and we would also deploy failover across these different sites or different requirements. And the dev test rapid deployments of Kubernetes and VMs, right? So this is an example where when we wanted to deploy development and testing environments for the different teams, organizations, then definitely that's going to be available and easy to scale up as well. So here are some of the real world examples of HCI vendors, including VMware vSAN, Microsoft Azure Stack HCI, Nutanix, as I said, Dell vRelax, right? So these are the different vendors, those are providing, I mentioned, and there are different and many more as well, but I mentioned few here, and they do have different products. Those are software defined, of course. Those are allowing us to deploy, host, manage effectively, and from central. That's also one of the very important key point to understand and know, right? So VMware vSAN popular in enterprise using environments, VMware products similarly integrated with Azure for Microsoft side. Nutanix is widely adopted and that's in Pioneer, right? And Dell has pre-built VMware based appliances as well. So those can be integrated and used with. Right. So there are some key takeaways, right? HCL or HCI is a cloud in a box, right? That's a simple takeaway, right? How you can identify and simplify it, right? So the simplifying operations, reduced cost and scales easily, right? And it is best for agility, simplicity, scalability without complex traditional hardware capacities or hardware requirements, right? And that is how it is going to be. So to understand this better, you can simply understand HCI is a cloud in a specific box, right? Because that's a virtualized environment. If I have to call it, I'm using a particular desktop, right? I have high capacity of, let's say, 5000 GB, maybe 11 generation CPU capacity, and that's going to load or that's going to handle a load of maybe 20 terabytes of data, right? Or 20 TB of capacity for the applications and everything together, right? And it has memory of maybe let's say 1000 GB or 1000 TB, right? So if hardware is at that level capacity, that's going to be a box of a cloud or cloud in a box, right? So that's how it is going to be and is being managed by using HCI, right, which is a software defined infrastructure, right? So that's very important to know and make sure we understand it and use it effectively. And there is also capacity, or there is also one of the great way how we can take our HCI capacities, HCI licensing, HCI hardware capacities, and everything to the cloud so that we also don't end up spending a lot of money into the cloud, right? Because there are different scenarios why we wanted to move to the cloud and we wanted to either stay back here into on premises or private data center and use it. And there could be different reasons, right? So that's something, it could be agility, simplicity, or scalability, or security, or any reason, right? So those are the different reasons. And upon assessing all of that details, we can understand whether we should or any organization or business needs to move from private data centers to the public cloud, be it Azure, AWS, or GCP, right? So, yep, that is what I wanted to talk you and give you a clarification on this one. Hope you learned something new. Hope you understand it better, right? And let me know if you have any thoughts around it, questions, anything that you wanted to know and get better understanding. And I would be happy to answer those and collaborate on anything that you wanted to. So yeah, that's all. Don't forget to like this video, share it to your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every new video whenever it is uploaded and available on channel. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching and bye for now.